these 9 things that I've learned myself the hard way, but also that I've learned from probably hundreds and hundreds of conversations that I had with business owners and observations, seeing what makes those great business owners tick. What is it that separates them from just the typical average business owner?
Welcome to the New Talent Playbook Podcast, your go-to resource for building exceptional teams and thriving businesses. Each episode delivers actionable insights on harnessing offshore talent, integrating innovative technology, cultivating a vibrant company culture, and attracting and retaining top performers. Subscribe now to never miss an episode. For more resources, visit the newtalentplaybookpodcast.com, where you can download this episode's free workbook designed to help you apply today's insight to your business. And now, here's your host, Rob Levin.
Welcome to this solo episode of the New Talent Playbook podcast. I'm excited to talk to you about something that I've been compiling this over dozens of years, which is this list of 9 things that separate great business owners from good ones. These are not in any particular order. They're based on hundreds of conversations, not to mention observations that I've seen with spending so many time with so many different business owners. And then I'd love to get any comments from anybody who has an idea of what should be added to this list. In the show notes, we will include links to Substacks where you can dig in a little deeper for any of these items. So, number 1 on the list of things that awesome business owners do that just average ones don't is that they understand and they leverage their unique ability. So first, let me define unique ability. This is a term that I'm borrowing from Dan Sullivan at Strategic Coach. I'm a big fan of Dan and Strategic Coach, also a client of Strategic Coach. So I'm going to define it in my words, not Dan's. And my definition, off of Dan's definition of unique ability, is the intersection of 3 things. Number 1, it's something that drives a lot of value. It adds a lot of value, let's say in this case, to your business, right? Number 2, it's something that you really enjoy doing. As I like to say, it gives you energy, doesn't take energy away. Number 3, and this is the toughest one for people to understand. It took me a long time to understand this one. It's something that you are uniquely good at, that other people do not possess this ability. My unique ability is the ability to understand small and mid-sized business market, especially business owners, and create services for them and in a way that they're going to really like and get a lot out of. So it's critical that you understand your unique ability. Top business owners do understand this. And not only do they understand it, but they spend a lot of their time working within their unique ability. I believe Dan says that you should be spending around 80% of your time on your unique ability. The truth is most business owners are lucky to spend 15 to 20%. So that needs to be flipped around, which leads me to number 2 on the list of things that great business owners do that good business owners don't do, or certainly don't do as well. And that's that they make time for strategic thinking. This is time, whether it's you and your LLM of choice or notebook, or just time in the park, just to think, to get away from the bombardment of emails and all of that other stuff, and to think about critical things that are going on in your business. So we know that the pace of change keeps increasing in business. This means things need to be reevaluated all the time. How are your customers changing? How are your competitors changing? If you're in a very competitive space, how is your team changing? How are laws changing? How does your marketing need to change? I always block out time each week to do this, and I try not to push that time around for those urgent things that seem to pop up all the time. I can't say I'm perfect at it, but the closer you get to making time as non-negotiable as possible for strategic thinking away from email and messages and any other distraction is great. And this is another thing that awesome business owners do. Number 3 on the list, and this number 3 helps 1 and 2 happen, is that they have an assistant. And this is a non-negotiable today. In order to have that time to work on your unique ability type of things and strategic thinking time, which hopefully, in the case of most business owners, falls within their unique ability, the ability to be strategic, you need somebody else taking all of those other things off of your list. All of those low payoff activities. Those are usually the urgent things that come up. It's not that they're not important, but they're not within your unique ability. And what separates the great business owners from the good ones is the great ones are finding that time to spend within the unique ability. A great way to do that is you remove those low payoff activities or simply those activities that are not within your unique ability off to somebody else, like an assistant. Again, having an assistant today, it's not a luxury, it's mandatory for business owners. Number four on the list is they focus on creating and maintaining a great culture. For people who read my Substack or have been listening to the podcast for some time, I can't talk enough about culture because it is perhaps the biggest lever of your success because it's the lever that will dictate who you hire, who you don't hire, who stays as an employee in your business, who goes, and how you get the most out of your talent. This is what culture is all about. Some of the items I'm going to mention are very much related to culture. I would certainly encourage you to check through, and we'll try to put some of these in the show notes, some of the previous Substacks and podcasts that talk about culture. And just to get people thinking, one of the many things to do where you can create a great culture is to recognize talent. That's just an easy thing to do. And if you want more insight on that, you can just Google W Awards Work Better Now and see that blog post that Work Better Now has on our W Awards, our recognition program, which is easy to execute, very inexpensive, and our team seems to love it. And I would definitely say we have a high performing team based on how Work Better Now's company is doing. Number five on my list of things that great business owners do that good ones don't do or don't do as well, and this certainly contributes to having a great culture, is they remove poor performers quickly. I'll divide poor performers up into two categories. One is people who actually might seem to perform well, but they are a bad cultural fit. Those people need to be exited from the company as soon as possible because their bad attitude will spread. And even if it doesn't spread, by the way, your team is watching what you tolerate and you are what you tolerate. The second category is people who might fit in very well culturally, but they just can't seem to get the work done. This could be based on either a bad hire, like just something went wrong in the hiring process, which happens. It could be because something happened within that employee's life that is affecting their work, or it simply could be that things have evolved in the role and this person can't keep up. Removing poor performers quickly helps the A players. It helps because the A players don't have to pitch in to make up for the poor work. It also helps because they're seeing what you do and they're like, all right, this is a business that insists on high performance and I'm going to keep that up. That's number five.
The reviews are in, and leaders are calling Rob Levin's new book a game changer. The New Talent Playbook, the ultimate guide to building your dream team, is now available, and it's your roadmap to winning the war for talent and scaling with total confidence. Don't just take our word for it. Order your copy today and see why it's a must-read for every SMB leader. Find it on Amazon.com or learn more at thenewtalentplaybook.com.
Number six, let's talk about poor fit clients. And top business owners have created a system where they're keeping out or removing poor fit clients. Ideally, you keep them out from ever becoming a client in your business, but sometimes you don't know that up front and you realize they're a poor fit client. At the very least, you don't continue to expand the amount of services you're providing with that client. Or in some cases, you might just want to say, hey, we can no longer help you. There's another Dan Sullivan quote that I'm going to use here that I love, which is always be the buyer. Too many people think when you're selling to anybody who's going to buy. That doesn't have to be the case. You can decide. And when I say you, it's not just you. It could be your salespeople. You need to define what is a good fit client, what is a poor fit client, and give the salespeople the tools, the permission, and the incentives to keep out poor fit clients because poor fit clients they come in many shapes and sizes. Two that I'll just mention off the top of my head is some poor fit clients are a drain on your resources. Maybe it's your support operation or other people in your company. Other poor fit clients, they may not be treating your people well. And you really shouldn't have any tolerance for that. I know when that's happened before, it's one thing, by the way, for a client to be upset for good reason and stuff, but when they are abusive or anything like that, you send a message to your clients that they're more important than you, and they're not. They're not more important than you. As I learned from Danny Meyer, if you take care of your talent, they will take care of your clients, when you do not take care of your talent, when you do that by allowing poor fit clients in your company, you're sending a message. Number 7 on the list of things that great business owners do is they're big believers in continuous learning. This can happen a number of ways. As the business owner, or even for other executives in your business, I'm a big fan of peer groups. I recently had a Substack on this, maybe a little over the top with peer groups. All it takes is one really good peer group where not only you can contribute, but you can also get experience shares from other people who have probably gone through many of the same things that you're going through. Also, continuous learning for the team, having a formalized or semi-formal process that enables the team to continually add new capabilities that they can bring in the business. Remember, as the pace of change increases in business, the need for new capability increases. AI is a great example, right? So are you encouraging your team? Are you giving them the budget, giving them the time, giving them some direction of saying, hey, we need some capabilities in your business. I'd love for you to learn these things. We'll pay for the training. By the way, with AI, there's a ton of training that's for free that's put out there by the LLMs. And I need you to bring those capabilities into the. And then I spent a lot of time in the New Talent Playbook, in the book, in the retention section, talking about the connection between continuous learning, training, upskilling, which is pretty much the same thing as continuous learning, but with a slightly different spin, and how that can impact employee retention. And the data on that is really powerful. Number 8 on the things that great business owners do is they ensure that the team is solving underlying problems, not just solving problems on the surface, and incorporating that into the culture. When you do that, the same problems are not coming up over and over again. I use the term, it's first principles thinking. It's really getting to the root of the problem and encouraging the team to do that. A great way to do that is to lead by example. When somebody comes to you with a problem and hopefully you're asking them for their solutions, ask them, all right, what is the underlying problem? What's causing this? Or sometimes it actually is the underlying problem, but often it's not. What is causing this? Let's solve that, and that will solve this problem from happening again. And number 9, and the last one on my list, is there's a system of accountability that great companies instill into their companies. So Work Better Now, we run on EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Scaling Up is another one that I've heard awesome things about. Or maybe it's a system of accountability that you create on your own. This is where everybody in the company has KPIs. This is where everybody is assigned projects, where you're keeping track of these projects. In EOS terms, they're called rocks. There's some sort of formalized system where everybody's held accountable. A players, they love this stuff because they usually knock these KPIs out of the park. But it also prevents micromanaging, which is not the sign of a great business owner. It's the sign of a good, or maybe even a poor business owner when they're getting involved in micromanaging. So I hope that these 9 things that I've learned myself the hard way, but also that I've learned from probably hundreds and hundreds of conversations that I had with business owners and observations, seeing what makes those great business owners tick. What is it that separates them from just the typical average business owner? Hope these help. Again, check out the show notes for links if you want to dig deeper on any of these, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for listening. The New Talent Playbook podcast is brought to you by Work Better Now. Don't forget to review, subscribe, and download the workbook for this episode at the link below. If you'd like to connect with us, you can find us on LinkedIn at the New Talent Playbook Podcast or visit thenewtalentplaybookpodcast.com.